Okay, so remember, when we read, we're going to be thinking of what word.
So in this video, I am going to give you a little glimpse into a song that we created. Well, Brooklyn created it to help her remember what sound the G is going to make in a given word. So I had some ideas. I threw out some words that she might use or use as an idea to build her song around, but I wanted her to come up with the storyline so that it would make sense in her brain and she would be able to draw on that connection when trying to remember the sound of G. We had learned this sound before in a few different lessons, and we had learned the rule that G will always make its hard sound unless it is followed by an E, I, or Y. Now that term is followed by is just difficult for a dyslexic student, same with before and after. So she uses comes at the end of. That is what makes sense to her. So for her, she's going to make a story that when an E, I, or Y comes at the end of a G, then that G is going to make it soft sound. So she knew the rule, she's learning the letters, but it was making the connection between which sound does it make when there's an E, I, or Y after it. So we were thinking of words that started with the J sound so that she could make a story involving that sound. So if your student has a hard time coming up with a connection between the letter and the sound it makes in a given rule, then have them try to see if they can come up with a story or a song or a chant that will make that connection in their brain so that they can remember it. They can remember it if it makes sense and is logical in their brain and has some sort of connection. Otherwise, it's super hard to remember.
That's beautiful.
Next slide. There is a blockage.
Did you hear the I? Blockage? Yeah. Number 5.
If you can master the motel bandage.
No N.
Badge.
So those G's are tricky, aren't they? Because they make two different sounds. How can you know which sound the G is going to make? What letter do you have to look at? The one right before it or the one right after it?
Before.
Right after it. If the one right after is an E, I, or Y, it'll say J. If it's any other letter, it'll say G. Now try that word.
Baggage.
Baggage.
Baggage and garbage duty. I can offer you better wages.
Now I'm going to be reversing roles so that she can teach me. If she can teach it to somebody else, then I know that she understands. Having the student have to formulate in their own mind how they would explain it to somebody else really forces them to process what they think they know and articulate it. That's a good way for me to check understanding, and it's an excellent way for her to really think about what she is learning.
Teacher, how can I know what a G will say?
So if with the two G's, and if there is a vowel at the end of the two G's, it says G.
So yes, the E will make the G say J. E, I, or Y. What are they?
E, I, or Y.
What are they?
E, A, or Y.
Close. E,
Wait.
I, Y. What?
We're going to try a lot of things here. We're going to try a little rhythm, a little song. We're going to try creating a story and all kinds of different connections here.
Yeah.
Say it slow. E. Let me hear you say it slow. Say it as slow as you can.
E.
Did you notice the shape that your mouth was in when you made those sounds? E, your mouth is like this, and then the other two is like open wide. E, I, Y, right? You do it.
E, Y.
Do you see that? Your mouth goes this way, then this way, then this way. E, I, Y. E, I, Y. Make those 3 sounds with your mouth opening as big as possible on all 3.
A.
Wait, that sounded like an A. Start again.
E.
Yeah.
I. Y.
Good. So those 3 letters, if they come at the end, like I like how you put that, of a G, right after a G, it's going to make the G.
I just connected what made sense to her at the end of with the word after. So hopefully that will begin to make sense soon.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's why the one on the end says J. Does the first G have an E, I, or Y after it?
The first G.
So it can't say J. Does the second G have an E, I, or Y after it? So it can't say J. Does the third G have an E, I, or Y after it? Yeah, so it can say what?
G.
J, J.
Oh,
Yeah. So let's see, how can we remember that the E, I, or Y makes the G say J?
Still searching for a connection. Don't worry, we'll get there.
E, say J. How can we remember that?
Do it in sound.
How will we remember that it's the J sound? Maybe the G wants to jump on the E, I, or Y. I don't know. What else is J? Juice, jam. Does the G spell juice on the E, I, Y? Does the G jump on it? What other J sounds are there? What other J words are there?
Jump rope.
Jump rope. Maybe there's a E, I, or Y, and the G jumps rope around the E, I, Y. So what is going to be your story? How are you going to remember?
Once upon a time, there was a G.
Okay.
And the G could only say J. There's E, I, or Y at the end.
Okay.
That's all.
Good job, Brooklyn. Now we're just going to incorporate that jump rope.
So what's the G going to do with the jump rope to help you remember that it says the J sound?
The G is going to jump rope over the E, I, or Y.
Good. Okay, so teacher,
Yeah.
when does G, what sound G is going to make?
Let me tell you a story.
Okay. I love stories.
Once upon a time, there was a G. The G could always say J if there's E, I, or Y at the end. And then the G does the jump rope over the E, I, or Y.
Yay! Good job, Brooklyn. We will continue to check comprehension for this and revisit that story in the next several lessons, just until she's got it down really good. Thanks for watching.